Welcome back, doll babies, to Murder Therapy with Doll Talk, cousin Ashley, and we have a guest.
Yay! Our first one. Oh no, Nathan and Ryan were on it before.
But I mean, I know Ryan's our guest again, but does Nathan count as a guest?
Oh.
Well, he was there.
Does he count?
Does he count as
Well,
security?
I know, but what? Yeah, well,
if not, the title on OnlyFans is going to seem real weird.
God, I'm sorry, y'all. I am battling a cold. The cooties are going on at the hospital right now. But, yeah, so today we're doing a case that I don't know. I done forgot the name of the family. I'm sure it's up above us, but I don't see that when we're doing it.
It is not. It's actually titled Pike County Massacre.
Okay, and I don't know that either, so I'm super excited. I almost texted Ash to get the name of the family because we talked about this last week when we were recording.
We're really
and I didn't because I would be impatient and want to know. But before we start recording, I have news in the true crime realm that I want to share that I just learned before I got on here.
Share away.
So, all right, Ghost Adventures. Have you seen this?
Yes, I know where you're going with this.
Yes. Have you seen it, Ryan?
Do you
ever watch? I don't really watch TV.
He's watched Ghost Adventures with me, though.
Okay, so Aaron Goodwin, he's the bald guy that's always like scared, and Zach makes
he's always
him
scared and always like, oh, I'm feeling dizzy, bro.
yeah, that one, and he gets scared, and Zach's like, just go do it, and
he's a taller
anyways.
one.
While he was filming with Zach Baggins, his wife tried to hire a hitman to kill him. Yep. Yes!
And it was a dude in prison in Florida.
Yes! The best part of this is she sends a text, because, now they offer those, like, texting through, like, the JTL app or, whatever. And she proceeds to say, am I a bad person because I want to end him and not the marriage?
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you're a very bad person. But I just had to share that. I was like, oh, I just learned that just a few minutes ago while I was eating my dinner.
Well, I don't think it was a phone that the jail provided because they said they found the messages because they confiscated a phone from him.
This is like dumb crook news.
And she had already paid him a deposit.
Well, that doesn't mean anything because even if you get a phone or a tablet off a commissary, you can get
it confiscated. Oh, well, then maybe it was.
It could have been a mutual thing. They give these things. It's like a hotel in there any fucking more.
Yeah. Well, I'm just really intrigued. Like, if she wanted to leave her husband, leave your husband. You probably would have got a big money settlement out of it anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just had to share because I was like, oh, my God, it's true crime integrating into the paranormal realm. That's right up my alley.
Yeah, I saw it today or yesterday, and then you got to bear with us. Obviously, we're sharing. We had other means, but we were down a camera, so we're sharing a screen, and it's a little dark in here when you're not up and close and just one single person, so.
That's okay. You're both beautiful.
And
so
he's got his notes, so we apologize if we look like we're looking away. We're not. So.
Oh, well.
It said a wonky because Ryan ruins everything. No, I'm just kidding.
He doesn't ruin everything. You're going to sabotage our guests.
He fixes everything, to be truthfully honest.
Nobody's ever going to come on
He does.
Again. This is bullshit.
Which, if you guys didn't see our, what did Ryan calls it, the couch, what?
Casting couch.
Casting couch. If you didn't see the episode where we had both of our husbands on here, Nathan was also on.
Yes.
This is our producer. He wears many hats. He's also my husband.
Mm-hmm.
He local music. Check him out, Captain Smoke. CAPTNSMOKE. He does all kinds of stuff. So, and he produces this whole entire thing. When we get done, he edits it. If it needs edited, he makes all of our filters that you guys see on the background if you watch it on YouTube. He's made it from scratch. All our imaging, our Bianca, our logo, he's made her.
Yes, Bianca.
So, yeah, he does a lot, and he's gonna take the reins.
He's very talented. Yes. Okay, Ryan, it's your show now.
Let me go ahead and start by saying, one, I have the reading comprehension of a sophisticated person,
Oh,
but
my.
the reading skills of a toddler. So bear with me. I'm trying to read all of this. There's a lot to go through.
It's a lot.
2, I am doing a small dissection, just a synopsis of this whole case. I'm using a timeline off of a YouTube channel called Crime Weekly. They do an hour and 40 minutes, 5 episodes straight on this case alone. Like, he's a forensic scientist, or no, he's a forensic scientist, and she's just really into the crime world.
Oh,
so
those are my people.
Yeah, like it's very interesting, and they go at it from various point of views and go through actual evidence. We don't have all the time for that. They use actual clips and stuff. I'm not that smart. So, but well, so I definitely urge everybody, if you like the case, go over to their channel, watch the whole thing on it. It's very interesting. I listened to it while I was at work, and I kept listening and listening and listening. So it's really an interesting case if I'm interested in it.
It's true.
Yeah.
We are going to be
I'm
talking.
excited.
We are going to be talking about the Pike County Massacre. Now, just in reference, this is about 2 hours away from where Ashley and I live. This actually happened about 15 minutes from where my older sister lives. It's a little small town called Piketon, Ohio, in Pike County. Now, Piketon itself is about 2,000 people. Pike County, the whole county, is only about 27,000 people. So it's all hills, trees, bears, and methed up rednecks.
Oh my!
Like it's
sorry,
a little itchy down there. I love my sister, but they're a breed.
Just out of curiosity, the people that we're going to be talking about today, did your sister know any of them?
So she actually did know a couple of the
I didn't know that.
the guilty party. So my sister actually used to work at a gas station down there called the Duke and Duchess. And they used to come into the Duke and Duchess all the time. So I'm pretty sure my sister knew both sides of the story here.
Cool. Well, not cool, but cool. Yeah, okay. Intrigue me.
It's definitely, so it's all intriguing. But I guess this is the best chance to kind of pop right in. We'll just so this is a different style thing. We don't do a whole background and search into it and then tell you what happened. We're going to jump straight into it, and this is how it starts in.
You got to, and we'll just tell you, take notes. There's a lot of people.
There's a lot.
Do I need to take notes?
You might as well go ahead and start breaking it down, because if you go on Crime Weekly, they had to go and find an actual diagram. There's so many people that are wrapped up in this web.
It's just, you need to divide it by family so you can at least, and then names. That's it. Because there's a lot of people.
Is this I can't, I'm going to hold this up asking so many questions in my curious brain. Yeah. Because I'm like, crap, what's the two families that had that rivalry?
The Hatfield
you know who I'm talking about?
Ooh.
Yes.
No.
Is that what this is like?
Nothing like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Two completely different crimes. Okay.
Yeah, completely different stories. So this actually happened somewhat recently. It was actually April 22nd, 2016.
That's the day after my birthday. My
Yep.
birthday's April the 21st.
Well, actually, technically, a couple of the murders did happen
on your birthday,
on the 21st. So spoiler alert, there is several.
Aww.
There's multiple murders that happen here. Just a heads up to anybody who's got a weak stomach, this is pretty gory case. There's nothing about sexual assault or anything like that. No. We don't have any issues like that, but this is a pretty twisted little family we're talking about here. On the early morning, it was 7 o'clock in the morning, a woman named Bobby Jo Manley frantically called the police, claiming that her brother Christopher Roden Sr. and his cousin Gary Roden had been brutally murdered. Well, after a while, the police showed up, and when they got there, they arrived and they met Bobby Jo and her brother James Manley. They proceeded inside to find a blood-soaked kitchen, a trail of bloody carpet into a bedroom where Christopher Roden Sr. and multiple were found Christopher Roden Sr. and Gary Roden with multiple gunshot wounds. Oh, I told you, my reading is horrible here, guys.
Well, why you took a pause?
You're good.
That releases the first name. So one of the families is going to be known as the Roden family.
Yes.
Most of them. Not all of them. Most
family.
of them are Rodens.
We're getting there, yeah. So you have Christopher Roden Sr. and Gary Roden. They walked in the bedroom and found Christopher Roden Sr. with multiple gunshot wounds to the to the head, abdomen, and his right forearm was completely almost blown off. Like his arm was literally hanging by threads.
Nasty.
So this was like a multiple shot kind of thing. Like
Absolutely.
This was like mass shooting kind of thing. Okay.
So,
okay.
And then right next to him.
That's overkill.
Yeah. Right next to him was his cousin Gary Roden, and he had multiple gunshots to the head as well. Both of them partially covered up by a comforter, in a position you can tell Chris was trying to struggle and was drugged through the kitchen, down the hall, and into the bedroom. So Bobby Joe also tells police while she was waiting for them to arrive, just a little bit further down on the property. So this is the foothills of the Appalachians. Like this is where all the hollers and everything start to begin, is right there in the southern section of Ohio. So just a little bit further down the property, on his property, was his son, Frankie Roden. His actual name was Clarence, but everybody called him Frankie.
So like a compound. They lived on the same property but different houses?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, they each had a trailer.
Okay.
It was Frankie's house and his fiance and their 2 children. Well, when she ran up to the door, she knocked on the door. To her dismay, their 3-year-old child, what is it? Hold on just a second. I have his name right here. Just a second. Yeah, the 3-year-old child, Brentley, answered the door and told Bobby Joe that Daddy was in the bedroom playing zombie. So Bobby Joe starts freaking out, runs into the bedroom, and there lays a blood-soaked mattress where Frankie Roden is on his back with gunshot wounds. His fiance Hannah Gilley was laying on her side with gunshot wounds to the head, and in between them was their 6-month-old baby Ruger.
Oh.
So, in a frantic mess of all of this, Bobby Joe's brother said, I'm going to run down the house real quick. I want to go check on our sister Dana. So, just a little bit further down the road was their sister Dana's house. Dana lived there with two of her children, which is Hannah Mae Roden and Christopher Jr. So he goes to the house. He's pounding on the door. Nobody answers. Pounds on the door. Reaches down. Realizes the door is unlocked. Goes inside. And inside he finds Dana with multiple gunshot wounds. Her son Christopher Roden with multiple gunshot wounds. And Hannah Mae Roden with gunshot wounds. And in the bed with Hannah was her 4-day-old newborn.
Oh my gosh.
Babies.
I'm just like mind blown right now. Like, what family member is alive at this point? Like,
well, now this is, like I said, this is the beginning of the foothills of the Appalachia. Everybody around there is related. This is a county of 27,000 people. Everybody knows everybody. You know what I mean? So while they may have different last names, there's a bunch of family related.
No, I get that. Okay.
So with 7 members of the seven members of the same family slain in cold blood, the rest of the relatives of the Roden family gathered at a nearby church together to wait for any updates that might come in. And while they were waiting at the church, one of the family members, a man named Donald Stone, began to get worried. Like, man, my cousin hasn't been here, and he only lives 10 miles down the road on Union Hill Road. Let me run by and check on him real quick. So he gets there and finds his cousin, Kenneth Roden, with a gunshot wound to the eye, and what police said was over $1,000 in cash spread around the body.
What?
They like sprinkled around it?
Yeah, there was $1,000 just spread all over him.
Wow.
So let me backtrack real quick. Sorry, because we've just. Holy hell.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, we dove right into it.
I know. He was like, I'm not doing what Jody does. Boom.
Well, there's really, honestly, how do you approach a case like that?
Yeah.
Like, there's really no way to build up to say, hey, this is my backstory.
Whose background do you give them?
But, okay, so my question is, had Donald learned about all this shit that was going on with Bobby Joe, like discovering all these family members. And that's, I know you said that he hadn't been like, oh my God, I gotta go check on my cousin because I hadn't seen them.
Yeah, this is bad gas travels fast in a small town.
Okay, gotcha.
This has already made the news and everything. Everybody in the town's already talking about it.
He's there and goes, crap, I haven't heard from him.
And about that time, they actually set up a roadblock at the corner of Union Hill Road and Route 32. So, about 2 days later, we're up to April 24th in 2016. Attorney General Mike DeWine, who's actually now the governor of Ohio, him and County Sheriff Charles Reeder held a press conference and stated that they had received more than 100 tips, conducted over 60 interviews, and collected more than 18 pieces of evidence from the scene. He tells the people of Ohio, it was a sophisticated, and this is a quote, it was a sophisticated operation carried out by people who were trying to do everything that they could to hinder the investigation and prosecution. So they explained that the scenes had been thoroughly investigated and remained secure so that they can go back and forth as they needed to. And Sheriff Reeder stated that this was going to be the most extensive investigation the county had ever seen before.
Well, yeah.
And that everybody needed to remain silent because they weren't going to have answers anytime soon because these people were really going out of their way.
They didn't have any idea at this point of like a potential motive or anything. Okay.
No idea whatsoever.
Well, I mean, it makes you wonder because evidently it's not a robbery if somebody's threw money around a body, right? Because if it was robbery, they would have took the money, right? And I feel like if it was drug related, they wouldn't have left all that money. You know what I mean? Like, sorry, I'm already mind blown right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So, knowing that, the tiny 27,000 population of Pike County, they don't have the resources for the investigation or any of this. So they start calling in places like the Ohio BCI or the Bureau of Criminal Investigation.
I was just about to ask what that meant.
It'll be easier just to say BCI because I'm illiterate. I'm going to stutter over that. The fact that I just got it out in
they're
one
already doing better than most of the cases we normally cover, Ash, because with West Memphis 3, all these other places we're calling them and they're like, hey, we have this experience. You don't. We want to help you. And they're like, fuck off. We got this. No, you don't. No, you don't have it. Right. So applaud to Ohio. Yes, okay.
They definitely
I'm happy.
They knew that they had no way in hell of figuring this out on their own. And, they're not the sharpest tacks in the bunch.
I talk to dead people, and I couldn't even figure this out.
Well, knowing that, they got the BCI involved with the help of their investigation. And a small of 2,000 people, bad gas travels fast. So information about the family started pouring in. They claimed the Rodens were very, very well known in the community. They were at every event. They helped everyone they knew. They were very well known. They spoke of Chris Sr. being a great member of the community. That the students at Chris Jr.'s high school said that he was a good kid and he was always the first one to stand up when he thought that somebody was being treated unfairly. That's
the Roden family. They're highly spoken.
So this is obviously he was a young child. So at this time, the BCI decided that since all of the crime scenes were in mobile home, their trailers, like single wide trailers, that it was in the best interest of the investigation to move all of the trailers into one warehouse together so that they can have all of the crime scenes in one location.
Oh, God.
How do you do that?
They're single wide trailers. They're all on built foundations, so you just lift them up and move them.
I mean, I get that,
but the resources it took.
This trial took millions and millions and millions of dollars for the state of Ohio. Like, we'll never recoup the money it cost to figure out what happened here.
Oh my God, that's nuts.
Okay, well, I want to ask this, but I can't ask it yet. All right, I'm intrigued. I don't want to ruin it. All right, keep going.
All right.
I always ruin Jody's stuff. She's like, well, I'm getting there. I'm like, okay.
I know. I'm not going to pull it, Ash.
So here's where this all takes a fun and interesting turn. So, in the process of scouring the crime scene and relocating the Roden family homes, the police found a large marijuana grow operation at 3 of the crime scenes. So it was actually at a large barn at the back, or no, I'm sorry, it was a shed at Kenneth Roden. So the last murder that we talked about, it was in a large barn on Chris Sr.'s property.
The first one.
And yeah, the first person we talked about. And then apparently, I've never heard of a single wide having an attic, but he had a grow operation in his attic as well.
He had an attic in his single wide? That's impressive.
Maybe he had an actual house. I'm not understanding, but from everything that I've looked into, they had all of the crime scenes in one location, so he had to have a movable house.
Oh, okay. So, but they were growing marijuana before. You all just had marijuana legalized.
Yeah. Last year,
just within the last year. Yeah.
So it was illegal. So, yeah.
Yes.
At the time, it was illegal. I just want to put on the record. Listen. I don't smoke marijuana at all, but I don't have an issue with anyone. Just because you have weed plants or smoke doesn't make you a bad person.
No.
I just want to throw that out there, but continue forward, okay?
All right. Well, this is when the rumor mill's beginning to cycle. This was starting that they were starting to say that this is someone coming out to try to take out their competition. This is then they said that this was a drug deal gone wrong, and then out of nowhere, because due to some previous, so the big rumor that really came out of all this was due to a location that in previous encounters not too far from this, where they caught actual cartel activity. So everybody started automatically assuming this is a cartel hit.
It was all over the news. It's due to drugs, cartels involved. I remember that.
But
some Karen was probably like, I knew those rodents were weed snorters.
And so to put a little aspect of what's going on here, so Piketon is about 5 to 10 minutes off of a U.S. Route 23. U.S. Route 23 has the nickname Heroin Highway.
Oh.
So that is actually because it goes from Michigan all the way down to Florida, hitting all of these major pipeline cities. That's drug traffickers go up and down it, and because of the poverty area and the poverty limit in that area, you know what I mean. People didn't have a whole lot of income, so the jobs are few and far between because it's mostly farmland and hills out there. They were having to do whatever they could to try to get by.
Right. Well, I get it. Okay.
Due to certain aspects of the whole evidence and everything like that, law enforcement wasn't really convinced that the cartel was involved. For one, anybody that knows anything about cartel, and I do know people who do have cartel, business dealings, yada, yada, yada.
Connections.
But when they move in and they do something like this, you have to look at the aspect. For one, there were 3 children left alive and unharmed. That's not a cartel MO. The cartel... strict, take everyone out, send a message.
Which that was the first time you mentioned that none of the children died. So.
No, I said it on every one. Okay. All the children remained unharmed.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, none of the actual children were harmed in all this. It was only, the one teenager and the rest were adults.
It's almost like, I know this sounds awful, which is worse, leaving a child there to see that? You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Alive? Or not that I would want a child to be but you know what I mean? Like the psychological effects that child will have for the rest of their life is absolutely insane.
Well, see, some things that happen in life, they call it deja vu, but you remember back on it. You know what I mean? And there's just like a glimpse of when you were a baby, something you've seen, and then just that memory stuck with you. They say when in the first crime scene where they had a child in Frankie Roden's house, when she walked in, the baby was stroking the blood-soaked chest of her father, who was dead next to her. Or to him, sorry. His name's Ruger. Like,
that's awful.
2 of the 3 were really young.
I don't care if you do dialect with all members. That's eventually they're going to know about that, and that's going to scar them for life.
Oh, absolutely. The amount of trauma that they have is just...
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, doing all that, the law enforcement started to reach out to the community and tell everybody, listen, this isn't a cartel hit. This was a deliberate action. This happened for a reason. And these people came from your community. These are your friends. These are your neighbors. These are your church goers. Somebody knows something. We need your help.
Who are you?
So they started getting thousands and thousands and thousands of reports. So this is where we're going to start going to work it back in towards the backstory of the family. Oh. So Dana Manley was a 16-year-old freshman when she met 19-year-old Chris Roden Sr. on October 27th, 1994. They had their first son Clarence on August 1995. And then they had their daughter, Hannah Mae Roden, in April of 1997. And 2 years later, their youngest son, Chris Roden Jr., in November 1999. And in 2007, Chris Sr. and Dana got a divorce, but they still remain real close family, real close and operated as a family. Which, as you guys know from like your papaw and stuff like that, people do that. They do operate as family.
That's normal to me.
Which here to us, when you sever ties, it's cut.
It's done.
Like the fact that it's been over 10 years and Ashley's parents still struggle to be in the same room together.
They do.
But, so, a little bit about Chris Sr. He was a laborer, but he also worked seasonally at the Great Bear Family Resort in Lucasville, Ohio for over 20 years. And he also had his sons come over and work on and off over I think Frankie worked there a little bit longer, and then I think that Chris Jr. only came in on the summer times and worked the summers there.
Yeah.
Summertime.
But Chris's oldest son, Frankie, was the maintenance staff, but he also worked at McCoy Lumber. So he was always a hard worker, always stayed working, worked 2 or 3 jobs. He
sounds like a really good dude.
He seems like it. Well, he graduated from Pike High School in 2012, where he also studied welding at the Pike Valley Career Technical College Center. So it's like a JVSCTC.
All right.
So Frankie was a father of 2 sons, a 3-year-old Brentley and 6-month-old Ruger. The couple started dating in December 2014. And then Frankie got engaged to Hannah Gilly in 2015. Frankie was the father of Brentley Roden, who was actually a product of a previous relationship. But you'll have to watch the Crime Weekly podcast to see what kind of happened there. That one, okay, I don't want to even try to dive into that well.
God, my brain's already...
So, I'll tell you more, but the family that we're talking about is that we're going to start talking about here in a little bit is fucking whack job crazy.
Facts.
Oh.
So,
okay.
And then in 2015 they welcomed their first son together, Ruger Lee Roden. So
what was his name?
Ruger Lee Roden. Ruger like a gun.
What a name, Ruger Roden.
Oh, the names just get better and better.
Yeah.
Ruger. How Ruger.
So
Ruger. Okay.
We don't have a whole lot of back information on him because they all. And I'm a firm believer of this as well. They always try to protect information of minors and children when it happened in these cases.
Right.
Full on respect that, and I hope that always is a thing around here. But a little bit about him: he was a freshman at Pikeville High School, and he worked the summers with his dad and his brother. He was a normal teenage boy. Everybody, like I said, he was always standing up for anybody that felt like he was done unfairly. He always tried to do the right thing.
Love that.
So now that we have a backstory, we have to go into Hannah. I forgot. Okay, so Hannah Roden lived at home with her mother, Dana, and little brother Chris Jr. Hannah and her brother Chris were very, very close. If you go, I don't know if you can still access their Facebook information or not, but everybody said that their Facebook and Instagram were constantly pictures of each other. They were always goofing off each other.
That's cute.
So they had a really close connection. She grew up always wanting to be a nurse's aide, just like her mom. So, like I said, this is a very tight-knit family.
I love that.
She was the mother of a 4-day-old newborn, Kylie. But she also had another child that was at the father's the night of the murder. Her name was Sophia. I think she was 3 or 4.
Sophie or Sophia? Sophia.
So now that we know a little bit of backstory on the family, and able to progress, we kind of got to go back into the crime scenes a little bit. So now we're going to go dissect each little crime scene real quick with just a couple little tidbits and information from each one. Like I said,
Okay.
go on Crime Weekly. They go way further in depth for all of this. So, crime scene number one. So going back to the crime scene, there's 3 crime scenes within 10 miles of each other. 3 crime scenes within a mile of each other, and then 1 crime scene 10 miles away. 32 rounds total were fired. Now, mind you, this happened in the dead of night.
So 32 between them all?
Yes.
I'm a firm believer, okay? And we learn this in forensics. When it's instances like that, when it's like multiple shots or multiple stab wounds, that's personal. That's a personal attack. There's personal ties to that. That's not, just a random hit. You look at people like the DC sniper, for example, that's a sad case. Unfortunately, they targeted random people. They didn't shoot them 12 times to the point that it severs an arm off. It was just a random hit. So this is something personal.
Absolutely. And that's where the BCI and everybody were finally able to say, like, no, this isn't cartel. Like, cartel's killer. This was something personal. Especially one guy. Everybody had shots to the head, and one guy got shot directly into the eye. For one, it's somebody that knows how to shoot. That's personal. And it's very, very personal. Because if I don't have a personal vendetta, I'm just hitting wherever it's going to land. I'm going to make sure that you get filled up like Swiss cheese.
From a psychology perspective, there's a lot of hate behind that. A lot of hate.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm on the right track. Okay, keep going.
Is there? So we'll get there. We'll get there. Like I said, this is not like I don't know if we were on the podcast when you asked it or not, but this is not a Hatfield and McCoy situation.
Yeah. But
I think
like you said,
I think that was in the very beginning.
It's somebody that knows how to shoot, but let's be honest, that doesn't narrow down anything because out there, everybody shoots. Everybody's got guns. Everybody.
Well, I'm sure they hunt and stuff in that area, right? Like in my region, boys in school would literally take time off to go hunt.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly like this area.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so crime scene number 1. Chris Sr.'s home with his cousin Gary. Now, when he got a divorce with Dana, he moved in with his cousin Gary, and they started doing their thing together. Chris was a truck driver. Oh, wait, no. I'm sorry. No, he was not. That's somebody else. My apologies. All right. So upon arriving, the investigators found multiple bullet wounds from outside and inside the home. The blood trail Bobby Joe described was immediately as you walked in the front door. Chris Sr. and Gary both appeared to be dressed, awake, and drugged from the living room to the kitchen down to the bedroom. Chris Sr.'s autopsy was done separately than the other 7 victims because of the amount of gunshot wounds compared to the rest of the bodies. Like I said, he took a lot of shots. And they said Chris had been shot 6 times in the face.
Oh, my God.
Once in the chest, once in the stomach, and they said that there was only 1 shot to the right forearm at close range. But 1 shot, actually, the one that actually went to the chest, went through into the spine, causing an internal decapitation.
Holy cow.
So, like, right back here behind the neck?
Yeah. Like, well, so it would like be behind the chest, so it was aiming up at him, so they were at a downward angle.
Oh, holy shit!
Like his arm was barely hanging off. So basically they're saying that he was like this, and the gun. Sorry, you can't really see. Sorry, shot him.
No, you're good.
At like almost point blank range, like right here, and almost blew his entire arm off.
So I know you mentioned it appeared that there was gunshots from the outside and inside. Do they believe that maybe Chris or Gary was outside of the home and it started there and went on inside the home? Do we know any of that, or?
So there was apparent gunshots from outside the home, but it's not 100% evident.
Okay.
But honestly, what tipped it all off that morning when Bobby Joe pulled up to the property, it was a normal day. She didn't know anything was going on. And all of a sudden, she goes walking up to the porch, and his 2 dogs, or pit bull mixes, were on the front porch. They're not usually outside. And then the door was locked because she thought it was weird. Like, hold on, usually he unlocks this door for me because she went over there to go feed his chickens like she does almost every day.
Right.
So she goes over, notices the door's locked, started thinking it was weird, pulled the key that he gave her out, unlocked the door, opened the door, and that's what she found.
And
she had to
that's
run
what she
back to
found.
her car to go get her phone to call 911. And this is podunk nowhere. So when you call the sheriff, it's 30 minutes to an hour before anybody gets to you.
I don't know if my question was relevant or not. I'm just curious, like, did somebody just drive up and they see them out, and you get what I'm saying, and then it just starts, or
so
did they hold? Yeah.
I think I don't know if I touch on it later, but they're dating that shooting at about 11 o'clock at night on April 21st.
11 o'clock at night.
So
on my birthday. Way to go, assholes.
Right. You almost got out of it.
How to ruin a day.
Wait for you to ruin Doll Talk's birthday.
But then Gary Roden, who was next to Chris Roden Sr., had 4 gunshots to the face.
Oof.
So once again,
so both of them are shot in the face.
Yes. Almost every single one of them was shot in the head.
That's crazy.
All right, next we'll move.
But there wasn't a child in that house, right?
There was not. It was just Chris Sr. and Gary Roden.
So it's potential that maybe, just hear me out, that maybe they pull up and they just started shooting at the house knowing that there wasn't a child in there. Because evidently they didn't want to hurt a child because they didn't hurt any of the kids.
Well, I will respond to that after giving this next tidbit.
Damn it,
we're getting there.
Ash.
Yeah, she did.
So I just don't want to ruin the next tip. So we're getting ready to talk about the second crime scene, and we don't have I don't have a lot of whole information onto that. But
no, you're good. Okay.
So we'll do this. So, but on the next crime scene was the trailer of Frankie and Hannah. So, like I said, this is the same property, just a little bit down the lane.
Now they're young,
literally
younger, right?
like Nana and Papa's. Because remember, Nana and Papa literally lived on the same
Across
property.
the
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and if you go on there and you look any of this up, like, this is your typical, there's 300 cars and 6 barns and all that on the property. This is, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, this is the foothill of the Appalachian. We do it right.
Right? Heck yeah.
All right, but anyway, both appeared to be in bed and asleep with their 6-month-old son, Ruger, when they were murdered. So to respond to your question, I don't think that it's possible that they were outside and they just pulled up and start shooting, because how did they not hear that on the property?
Right.
So
you're right. No, that's a good point. I would have woke. Well, I don't know. Nathan would probably, if he was in here, he would say, "No, you wouldn't have. No, you wouldn't have woke up. I would sleep through a freaking tornado." But
so would I.
You wouldn't, but if he's anything like me, and I think most fathers are, a car drives by and I'm awake. Like, I hear everything.
Yeah.
Ryan doesn't sleep, though. That's not fair.
Well, no, Nathan will wake up very easily to stuff. He really does. I gotta say that. Like,
instinct.
There's been times, unfortunately, the business next to us has been broken into a couple times, and like, he'll hear shenanigans going on. Yeah, so I get it.
Sorry, you're fine.
No, you're fine.
All right, so now, so now we will move on to the third crime scene, the trailer of Dana Roden, where Dana, Chris Jr., and Hannah Mae, we'll call her Hannah Mae because we don't want to get her mixed up with Hannah Gilly.
Hannah Mae?
Oh, yeah, that's right. We got 2 Hannahs.
Yeah, his sister and his fiance are both named Hannah. Poor Frankie.
But Hannah Mae, we're going to keep it.
Her name was Hannah Mae Roden, so we're going to keep it Hannah Mae. They were all in bed and asleep at the time of the murder. So, the way things echo, outdoor gunshots, you probably still could have heard from their house. Not outside, maybe, but anybody that would have been outside would have probably heard gunshots. And that late at night, it's either a redneck hooper and hollering or somebody's getting shot.
I mean, gunshots are pretty... You can hear.
They have a distinctive
sound. There's...
Well, I feel like the way I'm picturing this property is just like Nana and Papa.
A
like,
big piece of land
they
with
were
just
within feet apart.
Yeah.
So there's a
And-
little bit further between them, but that's like less than less than a
But
mile.
if you heard if somebody is in a single wide trailer, and I don't mean that derogatory at all, but if someone's in a single wide trailer and they're shooting rounds, I'm sorry, I feel like the house, right, within yards or whatever,
Should
is going to
hear
hear
it.
that.
You would think.
And let's just piece this out. So, everybody's familiar with the foothills, and I'm sure in the mountains.
I'm not, but
like the Appalachian Mountains, I've been obviously well through where Jody lives, all in and around it. They start here in Ohio on one side. Ryan's sister lives down there, and for the most part, it's a smart thing to do, and they call them a compound. They buy just a massive piece of land, and then every family member, they still want their own space because they're adults, so they have different housing along the same they're all on the same property but different housing, and that way they Ryan's sisters, they live on a compound. They have a house at the very front of the property. You drive a little bit further back on the same property, it's her husband's sister, and then even further back is her in-laws. So it's just cheaper, easier.
That's not anything uncommon. It's really bizarre to me
that nobody heard
that given the nature of the type of residence that it is, somebody had to have heard something.
Yeah.
Well.
Okay.
Anyway, so Dana, the mother, was shot 4 times in the head.
Poor Dana.
Yeah. Her son.
I don't know why Dana bothers me so bad. I'm more
She's
hurt
the
about
mama.
Dana than everybody.
She's a nurse. Why is nurses don't do nothing?
That's it. It's because we have that in common. But continue. Okay.
She's a nurse.
Chris Jr., the youngest of the family, had also been shot 4 times in the head. Where Hannah Mae was shot twice in the head in bed with her 4-day-old newborn baby.
4 days.
I know, you sick bastard, whoever you are.
So, the 4th crime scene was the trailer of Kenneth Roden, and we've already spoken on that. That was one shot through the right eye with $1,000 in cash spread around him.
Are you going to tell them they were at least good human beings with the baby?
What do you mean?
How they left. Okay. I'm ruining things. I'm pulling an Ashley.
We may go over our hour mark, but we're going to do this in one episode. We're going to do this in one episode. We still got a lot to
go
through
time.
here.
It's fine.
All right, so with all the crime scenes analyzed, they're trying to figure out the parameter of the custody of the surviving children, Brentley, Ruger, and 4-day-old Kylie. Due to the nature of the case, the state can't just give the children to the families, and the masses, and the cases, everything.
Right.
They want to figure out what's the safest route for the children. So in August of 2016, a hearing was held to determine if the custody proceedings should be kept from the private or from the public or not.
Oh.
So in 2016, Sheriff Reeder was at these proceedings, and he argued that it definitely should be kept private because he believes that there was more than one shooter. And this was the first time that they had given up any information about the amount or anything a suspect that they had the information about, and the minor children and their caregivers and everything that could put them in danger. And he said, and this is a quote, "I don't ever want to find victims 9, 10, and 11 and have them be those 3 minor children." So he said anybody that's involved in this family is a suspect. Anybody that's involved in their other family is a suspect. I never want to have this on my conscience.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it has to be somebody in the family at this point. So who could you potentially trust to take them in?
Exactly.
So
yeah, okay.
In October of 2016, now we went all the way from April to October, I sit down with the local sheriff, his reader. He admits that for the first time that it wasn't a cartel hit, that he believed this was somebody local. And he goes on to pour out to the community, saying this was somebody that is in our community, and if you have information, you should come forth now. You can help catch the people involved. This is the first time that they've given any clues about the suspect whatsoever. And DeWine went on to say that they had reconstructed every aspect of the victims' lives so that they can find the people responsible. So in doing so, they started to break down each person's daily habits, hobbies, everything. Like they were dissecting every aspect of these people's lives.
They were going to solve this.
Well, yeah. I want them to.
Yeah.
So to save us another hour of drawing on information and yada, 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 we're just going to skip straight to it, and it's going to start to make more and more sense here. We're just going to go ahead and start with Hannah Mae Roden.
Hannah Mae?
So,
Hannah Mae.
She was the mother of two children, Fordale Kiley and a 4-year-old with a father named Jake Wagner. Jake was a member of another well-known Pike County family, the Wagner family, and was known as one of the wealthier families in town. Now, they had a bunch of properties and stuff like that, and everything in total that they owned, that they had acquired over the years, because they owned what was called the Flying W Ranch, totaled in a little over $4 million.
Good God.
But in this section
Wow.
of Ohio, you might as well be billionaires, because it's poor down there. Like, people still use outhouses. People still believe in a different way down there. So they were wealthy, but it was all held. Their family was all held together by a woman named Freddie Wagner. Freddie was she's an older lady.
Frederica?
Yeah, Frederica.
I told you these names just...
Okay, Frederica. Okay.
She was well known locally, as well as her late husband, who was best known for breeding and raising horses at the farm, the Flying W Ranch.
Well, no wonder why they got money. There's a lot. Listen, I didn't know how much horse semen was worth. And yeah,
we're in the wrong game.
I'm over here thinking like racing horses, showing horses, and you're instantly going to whacking horses.
Well, it's true. Horse semen is worth a lot of money. I swear. Look it up. Okay. Anyway,
Look it up. I don't want to know what you find.
I'm going to pass on that one. I'll take your word for it. But she was known as a pillar in the community and known as being a Sunday school teacher over the past 5 decades.
Aww.
Freddie and her husband had acquired over 1,776 acres of property, and all of it valuing a little over $4 million. So, like I said, they're basically billionaires in there when we're living below the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
So, Freddie's son George, also very well known in the community, as well as his wife Angela and their sons George Jr. and Jake Wagner. They were another very tight, well-fit, and they were they operated a lot like how the Roden family operated.
Right.
Like a lot of them lived together, a lot of them worked together. Like it was a kind of bridge thing.
Can I just say that I get having a junior is not just a Southern thing. Everybody likes to have a junior, and they're all over the place. But down there, I feel like every single family has a junior, at least one junior.
Well, what's fucked up is his oldest son isn't even his
do.
junior. That's how you're not gonna get the firstborn.
Your firstborn's not your junior.
That's a dick move. Like, let's automatically just tell your oldest son that you like the youngest one better.
Before he even got here.
Fucking douche. Maybe he deserved to die. Maybe he's a dick.
Oh my
No,
God.
I'm just playing. That's fucked up. He
Reel
did not
it
deserve
back.
that.
Oh, it was all
shit.
over the names. Now we know that was the motive.
Yep.
It was all over the juniors.
Freddie's son, George, he really went by Billy. So his son, George Jr., so we don't get him mixed up.
What is his full name?
What do you mean?
George.
George Wagner? George Billy Wagner.
I thought it was Washington.
Oh, no.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that was his son. I think his son was George Washington or something like that.
Yeah, his son's name
Shut up.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember exactly who that was. I didn't go
These
that
are
far.
such intense names.
George Washington Wagner or
We
something.
stay
I
with
don't
the
even
times
know.
around here.
Frederica. Frederica's my favorite so
What
far.
was the kid's name?
Who?
That has a name after the gun.
Ruger Lee.
Ruger.
Ruger Lee.
And Ruger.
Hannah May.
Ruger Lee. Okay. And Hannah May. Okay.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, you have Frederica's old son, 45-year-old Billy Wagner. His name's George, but we're going to call him Billy. Was actually Chris Roden Sr.'s best friend. Well, his son George was also friends with Chris's son Frankie. And then obviously his son and his son and Chris's son had a baby together in a relationship that ended years before the murders occurred. So they had a little thing. Well, Jake and Hannah, we'll get into their relationship a little bit.
But that was the other son, was Jake. You didn't.
Oh yeah, I said that. I thought I did. Yeah, I did right here.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I'm blocking
So
the camera.
Billy's son's name was George.
Yes, he had Billy.
That was George
Billy,
Washington.
Yeah, George Washington Wagner was his name.
And then they had Jake.
Okay.
And then they had Jake is actually a middle name. I can't remember what Jake's real name is, but he went by Jake Wagner.
I'm sure it was interesting.
And because he was. I'm actually getting ready to get this part, and you can actually attest for me, or I'll read it real quick. It says, Jake and Hannah started dating when Hannah was 13 and Jake was 19. And in quotations, I put fucking ew.
I want to know what his real name is.
Right. Well, no, okay. It would be one thing if maybe they got together and she was 13 and maybe he's 16.
No, he's a fucking chomo in my eyes.
Okay. Yeah, no, I agree. That's so gross.
I mean,
She's
and that's
just
where
going
I
through
have
the changes.
See, knowing how I know everything about this case, knowing that Chris Sr. allowed a 19-year-old man to date his 13-year-old daughter, that's why I say maybe he deserved to die. Maybe he was a piece of shit because he let his daughter fuck with some questionable people.
Ew. Like, he allowed it.
Yeah. No, I would never allow that. Well, Colin just turned 13. That would be like a 19-year-old woman coming to my house and being like, I'm attracted to your son. You know what I mean? That's just kind of gross.
Let me date him.
Well,
and by the way, I thought his name was going to be exciting. It's not. It's Edward.
Yeah, it was Edward. That's right. Fucking douchebag.
I looked it up.
I wasn't going to give that pedophile a fucking platform to give his real name out there, but good job.
Oh, I will put his real name out there.
Anyway, they had actually been dating for 2 years, and then something happened. I think it was her getting pregnant. She moved in with Jake, who, mind you...
So they'd been together
2
years, and she got pregnant. She was 14 years old.
15.
She was 13.
15. Okay, gotcha.
And
yeah, it does. Sorry.
Let's just go ahead and keep making this sound worse and worse. He was 21 and moved her into mommy's house.
Woo!
She hasn't...
He's a real man.
Right.
She hasn't even gotten... She's just now in high school. Mm-hmm. At this point.
Probably freshman, just ending freshman.
She can't even drive a car.
And she popping out Lillians.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Yeah. Well, Jake and Hannah had their daughter in September of 2013. In March of 2015, Jake and Hannah broke up.
That's probably a blessing in disguise.
Right. Well, according to Jake, Hannah couldn't deal with how much he worked and that he didn't ever have time for her. So they continued.
Well, she's a child.
Right.
She's a child.
Somebody's got to support
Right.
her. I mean...
Yeah, sorry. I'm so aggravated.
And but even when they split up, they continued to live together in a non-committed relationship while they try to co-parent their daughter, Sophia. But somehow within all of that, like, they would go spend 1 month at a time with each family. So for 1 month, she was with the Rodens. 1 month, she was with the Wagners. And they would kind of do that whole trade on and off. But like I said, they were all close-knit friends and family. So they all probably seen them on a daily basis. You know what I mean? It was probably nothing ever weird. And didn't really seem like anything was really too wrong with anything at that time. Well, according to the sources during the trial and the case, they said the relationship was not really so peachy keen. They claimed that Jake was very, very controlling and wanted the relationship with Hannah back, but mostly him and his family just wanted custody of their daughter, Sophia.
Sophia.
As it turns out, Wagner was not Kylie's father. It was another 21-year-old man named Charles Gilly.
Oh, she liked him older.
Once again, in quotations, ooh.
Oh my god. So,
Think of the last name. I don't know if you have your little family tree thought out, but notice how
lost room.
Gilly.
But
who else's last name is Gilly?
Well, there's other people. There's a Hannah Gilly.
Yes. So,
and Hannah,
knowing that Hannah and Frankie are together, Frankie's little sister went and banged Hannah Gilly's brother, and they had a kid together.
Oh my god.
So it's not incest.
Well, turns out
it's like keeping it in the family. Let's be realistic. It's keeping it in the family.
Yeah, that's a lot of what's going on here. But as it turns out, Charles Gilly was a bum and a junkie, and he dipped the fuck out. He didn't want nothing to do with the kid or Hannah Mae.
Oh, well, he's wonderful.
Well, now single. Oh, yeah, hold on.
He went to get the milk and never came back.
Oh. He went to get the milk and never came back.
Hold on, I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I scrolled up and skipped a whole fucking paragraph because I'm an idiot.
How dare you?
So
you're good.
Oh wait, no, I didn't. I think I'm all right. So in late 2015, Hannah started dating a man named Corey Holdren, and a week
is he in his 20s too?
Yeah, probably. I don't think I got his age. I don't think I want to know.
I'm sorry. I'm like, at this point, is he also a man and not a teenager? And
so, I have a positive aspect of him so far.
Okay.
So we'll just go there with it. Now, like I said, I kind of skipped over this, but we'll tie it all in. But Corey and Hannah had only been dating for about a week when she had reportedly told when she told Jake and Jake that he wasn't the father, and that pissed Jake off.
So we're talking about Hannah Mae.
Yeah, Hannah Mae.
Okay.
So this is where I skipped about over where Jake wasn't the father because I skipped over this part. Well, Jake kept insisting that the baby was his, and Hannah kept just saying that Hannah said that out of spite, and after the murder, Jake ended up telling the investigators that there was a 50-50 chance that it was actually his baby. And that he was almost... he told the reporter that, and this is a quote, "There is nothing Wagner would like more than finally recalling how he pulled the tiny baby sock off a little itty foot shortly after the baby was born, checking for a hammer toe index that was a family trait. And he had told that he was almost sure that he saw. And he hoped that and that's the only hope that he holds on to these days. But if he isn't Kylie's dad," he told the courts that he would and that the courts deem that another suitable man will step up, at least partially, he will allow it to happen, but he still demands mandatory visitation in order to see her regularly.
So this is the 4-day-old
baby. Even if it's
baby.
not his child.
Even if it's not his child, and he's been told multiple times it's not his child.
And he's demanding visitation.
Wow. Well, he also says that he wants to ensure that she gets to know her toe-headed big sister, who loves tea parties, getting her nails painted, and playing on the extensive play areas that he had built in their house, a home that he had once hoped that Hannah would come back to and bring Kylie. Like I said, turns out he wasn't the dad.
And just for the record, this was the 4-day-old baby on the day of the murders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, like I said, Charles ends up being a junkie. He dips the fuck out. Now single because Corey doesn't want to be in the middle of all this fucking drama and possible incest. Just joking, even though I'm not. Hannah gets in a car wreck.
He did what?
Hannah gets in a car wreck. Hannah Mae gets in a car wreck. Corey sees this online and they reconnect. Corey decides that he doesn't care anymore. He's willing to step up and be a man for Kylie because Kylie deserves a good dad.
Don't.
So according to Corey...
Probably seen how dysfunctional everything is, and he's like, I'm probably the only ounce of sanity that this poor child's ever going to have.
Facts.
So I'm going to bite the bullet and be miserable and make sure I'm there.
But
kudos, Corey.
Yeah.
According to Corey, more reason why I think he seems pretty all right. While he was on trial, he actually told everybody that when they were together, he was a junkie on pills too. He was strung out on pills. But as soon as he decided that he made the decision that he was going to step up for Kylie and Hannah, he completely quit everything.
That's incredible. Good for you, Corey.
Yeah,
I hope after all this had happened, he stayed sober. Yeah. I hope, but...
Well, in December of 2015, Hannah informs Jake she's moving in with Corey, and Corey's going to help raise Kylie. And Jake doesn't like this at all. And shortly after, the prosecutors said Jake...
Well, fucking bad, Jake.
Right. Shortly after, prosecutors said Jake and many members of his family started to plot the murder of Hannah Mae Roden.
Just Hannah.
So, you see...
Just Hannah.
It's all starting to come a little into fruition. Well, 3 years later, we have no answers. We still know nothing. It's November of 2018, and the Pike County authorities arrested 6 members of the Wagner family. George Billy Wagner, his wife Angela Wagner, his 2 sons George and Jake Wagner, all charged with multiple counts of aggravated murder, and they also implicated Angela's mother, Rita Newcomb, and along with Billy's mother, Frederica Wagner, also arrested both on obstruction of justice and perjury.
So 3 years it took to make arrests for these murders.
And they arrested all of them. So I'm imagining, maybe I'm jumping ahead, their whole motive is, in order to get custody of this child that doesn't even belong to him, we have to take out everybody.
Oh, no, because they did have a kid together, Sophia.
Right, but they want Kylie.
Yeah, well, they wanted full custody of both.
Right.
But because right now they share Sophia. They want Sophia fully as well.
So, yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's disgusting. Go to court like everybody else goes.
Well, of course, they arrest all of them. Now, that was November of 2018, and they all pled not guilty. No, we didn't have nothing to do with this. Well, 2021 comes, and now, granted, this has been 5 years now since this family has been slain, and we still don't know 100% sure what happens.
Can you imagine the fear in that community all the time, like wondering, am I good? You know what I mean?
My sister was still working at that. My sister was still working at that gas station. Like, and it got to the point where my sister had to start carrying to work because she didn't know what she was going to deal with.
Yeah.
Well, you wouldn't. You have no idea what the motive is. You have no idea. Is this just some random serial killer? And they want to, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know.
Like, so we're now starting to come to a wrap up. Like I said, I urge everybody to go to Crime Weekly and go look at the bigger aspect of this. There's so much information that I have to cut out because we're already at over an hour, and if I keep going, we're going to be here all night.
Oh, because it gets into it gets into like in depth with the search warrants. You learn more about the Wagner's family. Like, we're talking this. Not the grandmothers, the mom, Angela.
Yeah.
She wanted those grandkids to be her kids. They called her mommy and she bragged about it, even though her kids were like, you're not their mom. And they argued. She was weird. She controlled her kids. She controlled her husband.
I'm going to have to dig into this.
So this
is like...
The Wagner family was, they thought of themselves as a crime family.
Oh yeah, they were
a crime.
gangster.
Oh,
Yeah, they really thought that they were, the next mafia around here. They walked around like their shit didn't stink.
and they had money.
Yeah.
Well, if you go in and listen to the cases and some of the people that they used on the trial, one of the people that they used on the trial was Frankie's oldest son, Brentley's baby mom, and she talked about why they had split. So she moved into the Wagner home, and just like they did Hannah Mae,
This
and
is
just
Billy's.
no,
ex-baby
that
mom?
is Frankie's ex.
Oh, they had another kid. Okay, that's right.
So
Okay.
she said that Angela was very controlling. No doors. There were no doors allowed to be closed at any time. Like when you were in her house, the door was open. She believed that blowjobs were a sin. So right there, you knew the bitch was evil.
It's okay.
But
Jesus.
she said that she beat it into their head that sex was only for procreating. You don't do it unless you're trying to have a baby. Like she was.
Oh, she's one of those.
Yeah, she was a whack job, but she was also very controlling in the community. And in the case, they actually break it down. And so Frederica and her family, like this is, they use, so they were known for, after they start, so this isn't part of this case, it's actually kind of sidebar on it, but the family actually got in trouble because how they acquired that $4 million worth of property and stuff was burning down their own houses and collecting the insurance money.
Yep.
So they had an insurance scheme going.
Yeah.
4 different houses.
Like I
Your
said,
horse
they
sperm
really,
wasn't worth shit.
They really thought that they were like, they thought they were Al Capone. They thought that they were a real true crime family. They could get away with anything. And so much they thought they could get away with murder.
But Mommy was the ringleader.
Well-
These were Mommy's boys. Like, she controlled them. She wanted their kids to be controlled by her.
But they're talking about
So
how...
it sounds like she wanted to be a cult leader, is what it sounds like. I swear, like that's what
No,
that's
she
what
just
goes
wanted
through
her
my
family
mind.
to abide by her and be the leader of her kids and her family.
Go start a cult and leave your kids out of it.
But, so, they, as far as... So they said that Billy Wagner, in the dark of the morning hours... Like just to try to cover all this up, so we're going to talk just a few little tidbits of things that they did to try to cover up.
Right.
So one of the things that gave it away was in the blood of Chris Sr. and Gary Roden's trailer. They found two left shoe prints in blood that tracked through the house. Well, you know how they do with forensics and stuff like that. They searched and searched and searched and could not find this shoe print anywhere in the database. And then it clicked. They found one shoe print that matched, and they were brand new shoes at Walmart. And they caught Frederica at the cameras at Waverly Walmart purchasing 2 pairs of shoes. They found the receipt in her car. She tried to deny it.
No. Who would have guessed?
She said,
that
no, I wouldn't have never
solved
bought
this?
those shoes.
Yeah, she said my boys wouldn't wear those.
And then like, okay, well,
Oh,
what's
you're one
this
of those.
receipt?
Fuck off,
What's this
Frederica.
video? What's this receipt? And so she's like, oh, well, I bought those for my boys because I needed their new shoes. And they didn't like them, so we just threw them away.
Well, then how did the footprints get into this trailer that was smothered in blood, ma'am? Like, make that make sense.
So they go further in depth to talk about how they have their credit cards being used to purchase brass catchers. So
What?
a brass
To catch
catcher.
what?
A brass catcher is it's a round catcher for a gun. So when it ejects the casings out, it catches the casings. So that's why they couldn't really get any evidence inside or outside because all the guns,
none were left behind.
yeah, all of the guns were ejected. But what you don't think about is there's on the lead that comes out of that casing has the barrel markings, and each and every barrel marking is very distinctive, and no 2 barrels are the same. So when they matched forensics on those slugs, and they matched up, they matched up. So it was kind of funny what actually ended up getting them caught. Investigators went to the Wagner household and were scooping around trying to find everything. And on the ground, they find shell casings from the same three types of guns that they used in the murder. Idiots. So you used the brass catchers at
they suck.
At the murders, but you didn't use it at your own property. They were used. So as soon as everything starts to get a little tense, and I don't know if I'm screwing up my notes here or not, but we're getting to the end, so it doesn't really matter. The whole Wagner family dips off to Alaska.
Alaska!
Of all fucking places, that's the best you could pick, is Alaska. Did they think that, oh, no one goes to Alaska? Sorry for any people for there that listen to us. No offense. But, like, no one goes there. So, you morons. Like, I can't with
Can we talk about the extent they went through, like, dipping into this? Because they literally went to the extent of driving down the roads, not just on the personal property, but driving down the roads because there were city cameras or county cameras. I don't even know, and disabling them.
Yeah, that's another thing I was getting ready to get to.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't rule it. I didn't have it in my nose. So at the crime scene. So these people were hunters and they owned a lot of land and all this and that. There were other cameras scattered along all of the properties and security systems. And every single security camera and system was cut down and dismembered. So,
I hope that their prison sentences are super miserable.
Oh, well, we're going to get to that.
We'll see.
Oh, okay. What?
We'll see.
I don't think one of them's done.
Oh, well, like I said, I'll get there. We'll get there.
Okay.
Okay.
So, anyway, over the course of several hearings, the prosecution paints a picture of how this close-knit family orchestrates horrific murders, leaving 3 children parentless, several families devastated, and a family who believed that they were so powerful that they could pull off a mass murder of this proportion and get away with it.
And they're stupid.
They went as far as the truck that they used in the first scene. So they had made a fake bed in the bed of the truck so that they could, when they pulled up, they were going to have Chris Sr. go up, get him distracted, do something or other, and then they were going to pop out of the fake bed of the truck and start shooting him. Well, spoiler alert on that. They get there. Chris Sr. Billy Wagner has Chris Sr. call his cell phone because they all left their cell phones at home in case they were traced. Like, no, we were at the house. So just to try to make it even more convincing, has Chris Sr. call his cell phone, and then he starts freaking out, and they wouldn't pull the trigger. So Jake Wagner takes his brother Frankie Wagner's gun, pulls it up, aims it, and shoots him. And then starts yelling at his dad, and his dad starts unloading into Chris Sr.
And it was just a frantic, oh shit, we fucked this up.
They killed Chris and Gary, and I guess Billy Wagner comes outside screaming, I just shot my best friend. I just shot my best friend. I can't believe I just shot my best friend. Now, mind you, I just told you they dipped off to Alaska. Frankie, who's involved and implicated in all this, has a child with a different mother. Or no, I'm sorry, right. Frankie's gone. Sorry. George, it takes off. It has a child with somebody else.
George Washington.
And George Washington, and takes off. So George's baby mom has no idea about this. And starts to question things, goes to the police and tells them that he took off, yada, yada, yada. And she's paints a picture on trial about how whenever they did something as a family, they had to come in and sit down. And I can't remember her name, but she was not allowed at the sit-downs because Angela didn't trust her.
Yeah, it was weird. They were like
Angela's
secret
a twat.
Yeah.
Yes, I really have a severe hatred for this woman, and I don't even know her.
But she said that they also had a child together, and it was the same situation. She tried to con her way into getting full custody of their child. Angela did.
So that's where
I find it concerning that this woman just wants to take everyone's children as her own.
They're her grandkids.
That's bizarre.
But
well,
I don't give a fuck.
It's
that
fun.
doesn't give you the right to. That's just, it's sickening.
Yeah.
Where Angela gets her own mother involved because her mom's a notary. She made up a fake custody letter and got it notarized. It's notarized that in this case, if something happened, that the Wagners get custody of Sophia.
If something happens to Hannah Mae.
And they dated it after the crimes happened. The problem is there's not a fucking single brain cell in that area of Ohio because they didn't take the printer date off of the fucking paper. And the printer date showed 3 days, or I think it was like 6 days before the murder.
Oh.
Yeah.
We call that premeditated.
Exactly.
All those shoes were bought 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
Strictly just for the murder.
So that's why Rita Newcomb gets perjury, because she was notarized this false document, and then she later admits on trial that, oh, well, my daughter signed my name. Well, how did she get your notary stamp? My notary stamp got stolen.
Oh. I hate when that happens because that happens all the time.
It happens every day.
Yep.
You know?
So that's one of
every day.
The grandmothers.
These closet notaries.
Jake and Billy. Yeah.
But
this is so wild.
So things aren't working out in Alaska. So they
I can't
back.
Imagine why.
They can't find work. You know, they're truck drivers and shit, so they can't seem to find work.
They're convicts on the fucking run.
Right.
Like.
So they eventually find them in Minnesota.
Oh.
Prosecutors find them in Minnesota.
I'm trying to go through like how I'm just picturing them all at this table and they're like, shit sucks here in Alaska. Where can we go? Minnesota sounds like a great idea.
Yeah. What's the closest to Alaska? Minnesota.
Minnesota's?
Okay.
But, well, investigators found them and interviewed them. And then after some time, the family decided that there was nothing there for them. So they came back to Ohio to hide out.
Oh.
In a friend's home, trying to live life under the radar and avoid being caught. It talks about how the family wrote notarized documents to gain custody of child Sophia. Only leave the print date that, I already went through that.
And while he's trying to find his place, can we just say this is years after the murder, and it's all over the news. They know.
I'm still dumbfounded from Alaska to Minnesota, and then they're like, well, this isn't working. Let's go back to Ohio. Are you not aware, you ignorant fucks, that there are, let's see, you went to 2 different states. You have 48 other options.
Yeah, and they go back to Ohio.
Well, 47. I'm sorry, because Ohio.
But they
You've
knew.
got 47 other options.
At this point, they knew we were looking for them. There was no question that they did it. We knew they did it. It was all over the news, and they chose to come back to Ohio. But, okay.
Ignorance. Okay.
So,
continue.
It's crazy the extent these people went to, you know what I mean? They, Jake was a huge fan of the show Walking Dead.
Of course he was.
He compared himself to Daryl on a regular basis.
No, sir. No, I don't even like The Walking Dead, but no. You don't get to be Daryl, you dickwad.
Some of the purchases used on their credit card were Maglite flashlights and stuff like that he learned how to make silencers out of off of The Walking Dead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, funny thing about those, and kind of how they started getting the ballistics patterns for the guns and stuff, the silencers didn't work.
Of course they didn't. So they can't even hide out appropriately.
Good Lord.
They tried to burn the silencers, and when that didn't work, they went to Mammal Freddy's house, went to the well on the back 40, and threw it in the bottom of the well, went and bought a pallet of bricks, and filled the well in with bricks.
Didn't they fill buckets of cement and put them in?
Well, that's where... So they start doing all that.
Are they aware that The Walking Dead is not real, sir? Are you aware of that? It's not a documentary. It's not a survival kit. Like, it's...
This is how to do it.
So, they went to all kinds of different stunts. They disabled the cameras. They made a fake bed of a truck. And George, the brother, is appealing his case. He's stating
good for him.
that he didn't kill anybody. He was just there.
George Washington.
Oh.
And the prosecution told everybody in court, it's okay to say that you're not part of a murder. It's not okay to be there during the murder. It's okay to say you didn't kill anybody, but your credit card was used to buy the munitions and everything to kill people. And you said it is also implicates you when you get a fraud notice from your credit card and you allow the purchase and still go along with the murder.
Yeah, his bank called and said, "Hey, this purchase overseas in China has just come up on your credit card. Do you approve this?" And he personally, over the phone, said, "Yes, I made this purchase."
Sir, then you are a murderer. You helped.
You're involved.
You're involved.
So
That's not how this works.
bitch boy Jake. The
Yes,
one
he's terrible.
everybody did this for rolls. He says that he will implicate his father, his mother, himself, and his brother if they take the death penalty off of the table.
So he spewed it all.
So he spewed it all. He talked about how they took the murder weapons, they filled buckets full of concrete, put the murder weapons in them, and then used those buckets of cement to weigh down a duck blind in a nearby pond that they gave their grandfather for a birthday present.
Oh, he gave every detail that explained every bit of evidence, how they did everything.
He literally took the bus, drove it over, went backwards, spun the tires on the family.
Yep. That did this for
And-
him.
I can't. I want him to get the death penalty. Well, y'all aren't a capital punishment state anymore,
Yes, we are.
you?
Yep, we are.
Oh.
Yeah, we still have it.
I think it's more strict.
So
Yes.
the prosecutors say, okay, we'll take your deal, death penalty's off, and he starts singing like a songbird. And this is where he gives up. And like I said, I dissected very small parts because this is the part that really just kind of stuck into my brain, like it burned itself there. When he shot Hannah Gilley in her head, he knew that nobody was going to find them for hours. He picked up baby Ruger, put him over, pulled her breast out, positioned the baby so that the baby could feed because he knew how long it was going to be before somebody would find them.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, trigger warning?
Well, I'm just...
Yeah.
So now that we know all about the case, and like I said, I urge you guys to go over to Crime Weekly on YouTube, go listen to this case.
The
and
details are insane.
You get actual, like I said, you get what the hell is it? Trial footage and all kinds of stuff. Like they really deep dive down into this. But Angela agreed to plea for 30 years without parole.
How old's Angela now?
It would be in her I think they said when she gets out, she'll be late 70s.
Yeah, because currently right now she's got to be like 40-ish, 50, close to 50.
She said she took that plea bargain because she'll be able to get out and one day be able to have a relationship with her grandkids.
No, ma'am. No, you do not. You don't get that. You're probably going to die in prison, as you should. I hope that she gets, I hope her toast is super dry and they don't give her anything to drink. And when she bites into it, all the dryness, she chokes on her toast. That's how I want her to die.
So, with Angela taking a plea deal, Jake took a plea deal.
Obviously.
Okay.
George is appealing his case.
Well, he can appeal on, motherfucker. Appeal on.
He's innocent.
Both George and Billy are pleading not guilty. Of course, Billy's pleading not guilty. He's the Mr. Badass, the matriarch of the family.
Can I just say that he looks like a chipmunk that has way too many freaking nuts in his mouth? If once you see his
fantastic.
picture, it's like you should look it up. It seriously, that's what he looks like.
Your boy Jake got 8 consecutive life sentences.
Good.
No, it's not. This
Why?
man,
He deserved to die.
this man is now known as Preacher Jake or Pastor Jake in the jailhouse, and he says that he is so thankful for what happened that night, because even though he's not sorry that he got caught, he's sorry for the things that he did, but being in prison led him to become a man of God and lead him to do the things that he does, so now he preaches in jail.
So this was meant to happen to lead him to God. Oh my God, get over it.
I don't think that that's what Jesus meant when he said that he will, that he is the way and he is the truth, and he did away with all of the Old Testament.
Do
and
what
that
you
he
need
would
to find your way to me.
Your sins. Right. I don't think that he meant, I want you to go and kill everyone, and then that will get you to me. I don't remember reading that section in the Bible. I could be wrong. Please let me know, but what a dick.
Yep, so we're still currently...
He's just like his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly like his mother. It's not about being a person of God. It's not about preaching the word. And regardless of what your religious beliefs are, if it brings you peace and comfort, I'm happy for you. That's a control.
Yeah.
That's what that is. That's control.
And it's funny you say he's just like his mom, because if you look at all 4 of them together, he looks exactly like his mom.
Got long blonde hair and everything, just like mommy.
And then Billy looks like his dad. Like,
he's got
images.
long blonde hair. I haven't seen what these people... I don't see the picture yet, but he's got long... You know what he makes me think of? When you said long blonde hair, I can't help but think of the really ugly guy from a House of a Thousand Corpses. That's the guy that comes to my mind.
It's just at his jawline.
Yeah.
And it's dirty blonde.
It looks dirty, greasy.
He looks like a skater.
Oh, so it is.
Yeah.
It's just like the guy. Because remember his hair was all stringy and nasty. And okay.
Well.
Okay, so there's similarities.
December 19th, 2022. Now, this is over 6.5 years since the murders occurred. George was also charged, regardless to his plea and his appeals, with 8 consecutive life sentences. So, good. Both of you guys rot in hell. Yeah. I hope you guys got a welcoming committee, and I hope you spend the rest of your days getting beat, getting raped, all that. Sorry, I know you're not allowed to say the R word and some things, but you deserve it.
He said graped, you guys.
Yeah.
So, Mama got 30 years without parole. Jake got 8 consecutive life sentences, no death penalty. Dad got 8 consecutive.
No, George, that's the brother.
Okay.
Here we are in 2025. Billy's still on trial.
The dad.
Why?
So, a lot of extra shit outside of this case happened. So, Sheriff Reeder is currently in the middle of a 3-year prison bid. Sheriff Reeder is known. He got caught. He was going into crime scenes and stealing money from families.
Oh.
They got him on racketeering and charges and stuff like that. He's serving 3 years. With everything with Billy's been trying to fight and trying to fight and trying to fight. Well, a lot of this, so there's a lot of controversy over the judge, because the judge wanted certain things to be private, wanted certain things to be this, and the media was saying, no, what you're doing is illegal, and he kind of did his own little thing there. Well, Billy kind of has his own little thing, because he's playing these back and forth. The judge that took over the case, I'm not sure if it's the same judge or not, said, fuck your plea deal from your son. We want the death penalty.
Oh.
So he was supposed to go on trial in, I think it was either February or April of this year. He is going on trial and finally getting his day in court. And I can't wait to watch this, and I hope that motherfucker rots in hell. I hope they give him the firing squad. Like,
I just feel
I know Ohio doesn't do firing squad, we do lethal injection, but still.
Which I learned about that. North Carolina or South Carolina, they just did a firing squad murder for like the first time.
Yeah, in 15 years.
Yeah. But I feel like both the sons and the dad I feel did just as much killing as the other ones, and for the dad to get the death penalty and the boys to not really aggravates me.
Well, the dad did most of the orchestrating. He was kind of like the mastermind behind all
true.
of it.
He basically told his wife, "Hey, go get this, go do this, go buy this, go like," and she just
with the manipulation, like they went in the middle of the night and drove that truck and just gave it to his niece. Like the son hadn't even gotten up yet, and he's at the door, like, "Hey, I know you were needing a car. Here you go." And they lived hours away.
That's weird.
This is just
they're messy.
All so you could have custody of a child.
Yep.
Well, children. I mean, but
the main one was Sophia because they knew it was Jake's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
Yep, because, you know, they had that fake will saying that if something happened to Hannah Mae, she died, they get her.
That's so gross.
Yeah. So that is my synopsis of
There's so much
Pike
more.
County Massacre. Like I said, please go look more into this.
It's nuts. It is just a mess. It's nuts. This family is insane and snooty, even in their court.
Yeah. Well, they're still snooty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I enjoyed that.
What about the grandmas? What did they get?
I believe in the process of all of that, the state dropped the charges with prejudice, I think is what it is. So they dropped the charges so that they could focus on all of the other trial, but stated that they could come after the rest of them later. It's pretty much the whole principle of you don't go for the small fish, you just go for the big sharks.
Well, and you didn't you mentioned Frederica's involvement with obviously forgery and messing with.
She was the one that she was buying stuff and lying for them and stuff like that. Rita Newcomb was the one that was getting charged with perjury for notarized documents.
And they both knew where they were when they were hiding out, right?
Yeah. Everybody knew about everything the whole time.
So, that was it.
That's wild. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up. Yes.
I know, and I don't really think he left any questions. Like, this is going to be hard.
No, well, and I was going to say, I'm not going to worry about putting the girls on this one because there's just so much that you could potentially ask. And I know we probably went for a while, and that's fine because this is just mind-blowing.
Well, Jody and I have had longer podcasts before, but yeah, it was a lot, and Ryan gave so many details that I feel like the girls...
Oh, yes. Yeah. Thanks for doing that
Dig
for us,
into
Ryan.
it, though, because the details you get, you're just like, oh my God, this family is messed up. There's more weird names. What was Billy's son's name? It was weird.
Not 100%.
Buford or, I don't know.
Bovine.
What kind of name is that?
That was his son. That was George Wagner. George
Washington.
Jr. George Washington Wagner's Jr.'s son's name was Bovine Washington.
Oh God, I'd hate to be named by this family. I really would. Bovine.
Was he part of the murder too?
No.
He
was young. He was.
So it's pretty interesting. The Bovine's mom comes in and testifies a lot on the trial. You get to see her a lot.
She's the one that said she had a similar Hannah Mae incident where they threatened her. They tried to get full custody of Bovine, and they tried to do the same crap.
They full-blown tricked her into signing paperwork that gave them custody.
And so she messaged Hannah Mae.
I can't help but compare this to Gwen Shamblin, because Gwen Shamblin also, that's why I'm like, it's like cult activity in a sense.
But the cult was a family.
Like when people wanted to leave the church, you had women wanting to leave. She would threaten, you'll lose your children. They will always stay in the church. Like she wanted that control aspect.
Oh, she would text the kids, you don't know what it's like to lay here in bed with your kids snuggling, saying they love you, mommy, when she wasn't the mom. It's weird. She gets weird as fuck. But yeah, Bovine's mom ends up messaging Hannah Mae and saying, now that you and Jake aren't together, be warned, this is what happened to me. Don't make the same mistakes. And so they did this, and Hannah Mae stood up to them and said she refused to sign. And that's when all this conspired.
Because that's one thing that they did note about Hannah Mae, and all throughout the trial and throughout the synopsis and stuff like that over it. She was a wild, spunky teenager. Mm-hmm. She knew she was a acquired taste, and she gave no fucks about it. She was pleasantly herself. She was very eccentric and happy to be herself, and didn't hide or back down from anybody.
Yeah. So
right.
So when she stood up to the family, it was kind of like Angela's looking at her like, who does this bitch think she is stepping up to me? And Hannah's over here like, I'll run circles around your old ass. And unfortunately,
get it, Hannah. And unfortunately, it came back on Hannah, and that's a shame.
Yeah, it is a shame. It's a very sad case. It's a very interesting case, especially being so close to home from us.
And it was a huge thing when it happened. Like
I'm gonna look into it. I'm definitely gonna listen to that podcast about it.
Yeah.
And then even if people can find a new podcast, I always love plugging in and helping people find new angles and stuff like that. Crime Weekly has a lot of cases that go into. Maybe you guys might find some information from it. Like I said, he's an actual I don't know if he's trying to be a detective or what he is, but he does forensic science. He's went to school for it and everything. He talks about his first time ever using a fingerprinting kit, how he walked out and everything was covered in dust but the fingerprints.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, but this was something that was on the news almost on a daily basis or weekly basis as it got older and older.
Yeah.
It was huge. It blew our community. Even though we're 2 hours away, it was all you heard about.
I also wanted to touch on something you two talked about last week on a totally different case. Oh. You guys had talked about Erica Baker.
Yes.
So Erica Baker was a very, very young, she was between I think 4 and 6. She was abducted out of her backyard.
Erica Baker was 12 when she got.
I thought she was younger than that, but she was in the backyard playing when she. So I just wanted to clear that up because I don't comment on YouTube and stuff like that.
She was walking.
No, she was in the backyard because I specifically remember the mom saying
that's right.
Went out
I forgot. I was like, how did we get on Erica Baker? But the whole reason was we covered Stephen Epperly and the Sheena Hall case. That's what it was. Okay.
But yeah, so
gotcha.
I just wanted to clarify on that one. She was playing in her yard, and she was abducted out of her own safety. These perverts don't give a shit. These sick fucks out here,
they don't.
They'll get you right where you're comfortable at home. So everybody stay vigilant. If you see something, say something.
For sure.
That's right. Well, awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. That was a good one. Y'all check that out. I'm gonna look more into it.
I appreciate you guys.
All right, Ash.
It's my turn.
What do they got to do, Ash?
They have to
Ash's turn.
They've got to go find us on most social media platforms. If you like to watch and listen, find us on YouTube. If you like to just listen while you're driving or doing some chores, find us on Spotify.
All right. See you next week.
Bye, guys.
Bye.